Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Welcome back to our very own Unscripted on
America's Islamic Radio. I'm your host, Hannah.
And I'm your host, Maria. And I wanted to welcome you guys to our second episode. Today we are going to be battling the stereotypes presented against Muslim women.
So, Maria, what are some of the misconceptions you have heard about Muslim women?
I think the main one is where people don't understand who I am. What does it mean to be a Muslim woman? You know what I'm saying? So first I'm going to define what it means to be a Muslim woman to me. What a Muslim woman is someone who is empowered, someone who has the power to do whatever she wants, someone who carries her faith along with her as power and support, not oppression.
Yeah.
And I think one of the biggest stereotypes is that religion holds me back instead of pushing me forward.
Very true.
Yes.
I was going to say the same exact thing. The biggest stereotype I feel like people have about Muslim women is the fact that we're oppressed and that the clothes we wear, so like if someone's wearing an abaya or someone's wearing hijab, the fact that that clothing is the source of oppression for, a woman. Or even a niqab, like some women go around wearing niqabs. But that is totally untrue. The fact, everyone dresses differently, but in no way does hijab or another piece of clothing which seems like oppressive, it is not oppressing anyone. At least for me, so I wear hijab, but I'm not being forced to wear hijab by anyone. Not by my parents, not by my community, not by other people that I know, but it's my own choice. And I started wearing the hijab, I haven't been wearing hijab. It's not like I picked up hijab as soon as I came out of the womb, you know what I mean? Like I started wearing hijab when I was 13, I think it was. So it's like been 6 years since I started wearing hijab. And another thing, I feel like in Islam, it seems like women are oppressed by men. Like, I feel like that's a lot of people think that as well. If you see like a woman being told by, her husband or whoever it is, by her father in a very strict way, if their life seems like it's being dictated by that male figure in their life, it could be culture, and that's where the whole discrepancy comes between culture and religion. It isn't necessarily Islam. It does not preach oppression of women in any way, nor in any scripture, nor in any hadith or anything like that does it say that, okay, your woman should be like under your feet, you rule your woman. But it is dependent on culture. Different cultures do different things. And even within culture, there's like a whole spectrum of it as well. So it really, really just depends on where you're from culturally, when it comes to how you treat women and stuff like that. And different people do different things.
I think you're absolutely correct. So I just want to thank my mom. I think she's my superhero, and she is someone who has pushed me forward from day one and always taught me to be strong, powerful, and not let anything prevent me from doing something. And she actually used her religion to gain her power, to gain her encouragement to live life successfully. And growing up, I had absolutely no pressure to wear hijab, to be religious, and I was asked to follow a few moral principles, to be nice, to be kind, to believe in Allah and all of those Islamic features, but I was not forced to, partake in any religious activity unless I wanted to, and I think that's primarily because of my mom. I think she really understood what the religion was, and she taught that to me. But what you mentioned about culture, I noticed that because when I went back to my home country, Pakistan, that's where I noticed the blend between culture and religion. That's where I noticed the cultural aspect of religion. The fact that the word haram was used so interchangeably with like regular things. Like you don't wear hijab, haram. You eat, non-clean meat, haram. Stepping in the bathroom without your right foot, haram. When in reality, these are not religious things, these are cultural things. And I think that's where a lot of the stereotypes come from, where people are unable to differentiate between culture and religion. In religion, there is no compulsion. In culture, there tends to be a lot of compulsion. And the blend of that is where I think the problems arise. So if we can distinguish where is that line where we are now being cultural and not religious, I think we can easily notice the perks of being Muslim and the benefits of Islam. Where Islam actually, during the Prophet Muhammad's time, I think there was a lot of culture that was messing up with people. Like a lot of women were not given a lot of their rights because it was the Arab culture at the time to oppress women or to keep them at home, whatever it was, that was their culture. But when Islam came along, they actually gave women a lot more rights. So I think what Islam tried to do, and I think it successfully did it as well, was that they tried to remove the cultural aspect from people's minds so that they can focus more on the rules and regulations of what it is. But unfortunately, because Islam originated in countries where the culture was to, not to harm, but like to oppress women or like give them less rights, people started to think that the culture is what Islam is. And that's where I think the problem arises.
And to go further in detail with the whole concept of oppression that you did bring up with religion, so in the Quran and in Islam in general, it is stated that, like for an example, a man's income, right, is his own, but also his wife has like a right on his income. But a woman, the wife, she earns income. She her income is just her own. She in no way has to share her income with like her husband or anyone else. So I think that's something so like clear to understand. And I feel like you can't even twist that in any way. Right. You know what I mean? Like it's clearly written that she has her rights to her wealth, but she also has rights to her husband's wealth. You know, and I think I feel like it's something that clearly clears up. It makes it very vivid the like status that she holds in Islam. You know, how high up she is there. You know, and oh my God, that reminds me actually, the biggest thing that all Muslims know is that Jannah lies under your mother. The feet of your mom. And imagine having like that status, you know, like us as women now, like we have that in the future, inshallah, like whenever we have kids and stuff like that. Right. Just thinking that Jannah lies under a mother's feet. Jannah is the goal that we all have, you know, in this life is materialistic, you know, like whatever is happening in this dunya is temporary, but in the future, Jannah is where we want to be. So the fact that a woman has Jannah right there under her feet, that's a really big thing in being Muslim. That's a really big thing to understand. And a lot of people don't know about that. I mean, obviously, if you're non-Muslim, that's not the first thing you're going to hear about a Muslim woman. You know, the first thing you see about her is her hijab. And that automatically makes you think that, oh my God, she has to wear a headscarf. She has to cover her hair. You know, like what else does she have to shield? Like, can she not express herself fully, you know, to the world? But she can.
I don't wear a headscarf.
Yeah.
Am I not a Muslim woman?
Yeah, and I wear a headscarf, but I'm here fully expressing myself, my opinions to the world, or to America's Islamic radio viewers. But you know what I mean? Like, it's really interesting.
I was fortunate enough to have an upbringing due to my mom being very liberal and encouraging me to voice my opinions and to change the view of people and how they view Muslim women, because a lot of times it's understandable why a lot of people think women are oppressed, Muslim women to be particular. It's because Muslim women are not on the table. They're not voicing their opinions. They're not in most legislative positions. They're not holding positions in the office. They're not at the forefront of a lot of the social movements. So it's understandable why one would think that Muslim women are oppressed, because we don't see them. So they might be oppressed. That's probably the only logical answer. But when we look in depth, I think the idea is that a lot of Muslim women are just scared, or not scared, but like they are, the stereotypes that society puts on about them just gets to them. You know, they feel like, even though they're not oppressed, they feel like maybe they should not voice their opinions because it's scary, because someone might attack them. And it's true. a lot of Muslim women who do wear scarves and who are trying to make some type of social change, they do oftentimes get attacked. We have heard of a lot of incidents where women in New York City got their scarf pulled off, or get a lot of hate on social media, things of that sort. But I think if more Muslim women like ourselves step up, find a platform, and start to discuss their experiences, that we will be able to overcome some of these stereotypes, that we will be able to empower Muslim women and, get their narrative heard.
Yeah, and as humans, we're really quick to judge. So the fact that someone's talking about all these stereotypes, or, making all these stereotypes about Muslim women, and not even trying to understand the actual perspective from a Muslim woman, like how she actually feels about her religion, what her religion actually teaches, that does create hate in people's minds. And, and like you were saying, that's why Muslim women are scared. That's why it's a scary world out there, just to be very honest.
Mm-hmm.
And so, it's being someone of a different religion, looking different, even though you're not different, looking different creates questions in people's minds. People associate wearing hijab with being a terrorist. It's a big thing. It's a scary reality, and you could be like the biggest opposer of terrorism, but because you wear a headscarf, people are like, no, you're a terrorist. Like, I know what your family does. I know what you're about to do. I know your intentions. Mm-hmm. And you can't blame someone for being scared because of that. So we're here to tell you that a Muslim woman, because she wears hijab, that doesn't mean she's associated with extremism. Because she wears hijab, that doesn't mean she's oppressed by other people. Her hijab itself isn't even this material cloth that I'm wearing on my head. Hijab is, how I see it, it's you create this bubble around yourself. You create this shield, this armor for yourself, that to create a barrier between what's good and I guess what could potentially be evil. Mm-hmm. Dirty looks from other people, for example, right? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives us the option to wear hijab, or to use hijab as something to just, you kind of keep to yourself, but also not so for your own protection. Mm-hmm. To protect yourself from the bad things that are out there, from the bad looks of other people, mm-hmm. from the dangers that can potentially arise from those dirty looks people give you. Mm-hmm. And I think it's something really beautiful that a lot of people don't understand. Or, I mean, even within Islam, someone who wears hijab versus someone who doesn't wear hijab, that creates a lot of, there's differences between people like that. So, I mean, imagine within a religion there's these differences. Imagine how it is with, not being a part of that religion and seeing it.
Right. To me, Muslim women are the most inspiring women in the world, honestly. I am
totally not biased.
No, but it's because I try to wear hijab for a period of my life, and it's really difficult. It's really difficult to wear a scarf. It's really difficult to cover your beautiful hair and just go out and do something just for Allah, just for God, And that difficulty on its own is a personal struggle, but people make it so much more difficult by making a hijab a notion of terrorism or hate or oppression. When a girl decides to wear a scarf, she went through such a mental battle to do that, to put her desires aside and to focus on what God wants and what she should do for her faith, and to be a representation of her faith. And when other people try to terrorize that or turn it into a symbol of hate, that is a whole separate struggle that is now added into her life. So that's one of the reasons why these women are so empowering and so powerful to me. And it's because despite their personal struggles, their struggles with their faith, and on top of that, the hate of society, they have chosen to make this decision, to represent, to be like a walking symbol of Islam, of empowerment, of women all around the world. And that inspires me so much. So I think instead of trying to turn this into something of oppression, we should see it as something of empowerment. Because the decision of making, like the decision they made of wearing the scarf is probably their most powerful decision in their life, I would say.
And with, like, I'm glad you brought that up because, so I've been wearing hijab for a while now, but I'm not, like, because I've been wearing it for 6 years, that doesn't mean that, like, I've been perfect. You know, like, it's been a perfect journey. Like, I don't ever question and stuff like that. There are times it's not always easy, you know, like, waking up and being like, okay, when it comes to wearing hijab, sometimes you have to come to terms with it first, right? I'm not in any way saying that I regret wearing a hijab, but I'm saying there are down times that one has where you think about it even more. You, like, just sit down, you're decompressing and you're thinking, you're like, I wear this hijab. Or, like, when you're in a group of people that don't wear hijab, right? And you just feel alienated sometimes, that makes you question things.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, we go back, like, when I go back to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and I think to myself, I'm like, that gives me empowerment. Like, just that connection with Allah gives me strength to just continue wearing it, to continue just believing in myself and believing that, okay, what I'm doing is for myself, but most importantly for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And it's not saying that I'm like it's not like a coerced relationship with, you know, a scarf, but it does, you know, like you do question it at times.
And your life would be so much easier if you didn't wear it.
You think about it, yeah. You think about, like, how easily one could fit in if you didn't wear hijab, you know, like, people wouldn't, like, I'm sure people don't instantly think you're Muslim, right?
No.
You have to, like, actually tell them, right? Because, like, you don't wear hijab. So it's not like the first thing they think about you when they see you is like, okay, she's definitely a Muslim. But I feel like whether you wear hijab or whether you don't wear hijab, at the end of the day, I think both of us can safely say that we're proud to be Muslim women.
Absolutely.
And, like, I would not have it any other way because even though other people do have misconceptions about me and other Muslim women, I feel like it's our responsibility to break down those misconceptions and to let them know that we, just like them, are the same. The only difference is our faith. That's what differs. But in no way or form are we oppressed because of our religion. In fact, our religion, like, is liberating. Like, just being able to pray or, like, you know, just to ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for things is just this very, like, you just feel so good inside. It's such a liberating feeling, especially having, like, such a long, hard day. So, yeah.
And to all our Muslim sisters out there, let's step up. Let's find our platform. Let's nurture our experiences. Let's build a narrative. Let's be at the table. Let's voice our opinions. Let's be in office. Let us be fighting for our younger Muslim sisters, the young little girls who are born today, so that they see Muslim women as superheroes, so that they know that we are just as powerful, if not more, than any other woman in the world.
Yeah.
And definitely more than men.
Yeah, and always let your girls decide whether or not they want to wear hijab. Because if they feel like they're forced to wear it, then other people see it as them being forced to wear it.
Right.
You know, then they obviously will tell other people, especially from a young age, that, oh yeah, I don't want to wear this, but I'm forced to wear it. Because hijab, that's why hijab is seen as a sign of oppression. Because some people are told from a young age that, okay, you have to wear it, but that's not religion, that's culture. That's culture where it's like, oh, you have to cover your head and go out. So definitely let your daughters make the decision of whether or not they want to wear the hijab so that they can feel good about themselves and they can feel more comfortable in their religion and also show other people that I'm Muslim and I'm proud to be a Muslim woman.
And this is something we have to do for society, for social change, and for human rights.
All right, so that's all we have time for today, guys. Thank you so much again for tuning into Unscripted on
America's Islamic Radio. I'm your host, Maria.
And I'm your host, Hannah, and it's been a great conversation.
Do not forget to like, share, and comment, and let us know what you guys want to see in the future and what you thought of this episode. Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum.